Well, it is my pleasure to introduce David Silverman, who is the president of American Atheists. Woo! And you know, I've been, listening to the storm brewing outside, and I can only conclude that the reason the storm is going on so hard right now is that God wants you to be here to listen to David Silverman. Dave is an amazing guy, but I don't need to tell any of you that. I'm just going to let him do his thing and talk about a fight we can and will win. What's up with it? Oh, so uppity. Anyway.
We're totally going to win.
Okay.
Thank you, August. Thank you, August. So if I come out here, can you hear me?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. No need a microphone in this place. All right. So, what?
Fine, I'm going to laugh at you.
You're going to laugh at me?
Oh, yeah, baby.
La. I am thrilled to be here tonight to talk to you here at the Ohio State University. I learned all about the today when I came down here. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the fight we can win today and the fight we will win, and I want to tell you why you should all be pretty excited to be here at this event. We got about 200 people here this weekend.
So I'm told.
Now, I'll just give you guys a quick glimpse. Hey, PZ. I'll give you a quick glimpse of the past. When I first started as an activist 15 years ago, one of the first things that I did was bring in a seated congressman to an atheist event. It was the first time that anybody knows of that we actually had a seated congressman ever at an atheist event. I got 23 people to come. 23 people to come meet a congressman. And now we got 200 people here for PZ Myers. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about this fight, and while I'm telling you about this fight, I'm going to, I have to, I got to use the rage face because, well, I have a rage face. So I'm going to give a quick shout out to all the Redditors out there who donated. Apparently all the Redditors are in this room. Who donated some of the artwork for this presentation, including, well, that guy. Just to give you a brief outline of what I'm going to talk to you about today, I'm not going to take too much time. I'm just here to tell you what's going to happen in the future, because I believe this is a fight that we can, and I'm pretty darn sure we will win, and I'm going to tell you why. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the movement. Those of you who are new to the movement are just going to learn a little bit for that first part, the history. Those of you who don't know who Madeline was are going to learn real fast. The objectives of the movement from my perspective. What do we want? What are we doing here anyways? What are we doing here in the first place? And American Atheists' specific market segment. This is a broad movement. We all have our place. And what is American Atheists' place? And where am I taking American Atheists into the future? Then I'm going to talk a little bit about atheism in America. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to line up other movements, and then I'm going to put atheism in front of those movements, and we're going to be able to just compare and contrast them just briefly. And I want to show you the advantages that we have over what's already succeeded. And then the coup de grace, what American Atheists is doing to complete this mission, and what you can do to help. And I hope you enjoy it. I'll finish up with some final thoughts. Now, of course, this rage face has gone through a couple of changes, as I've gone through some changes, like this guy has no beard. Just to tell you briefly about the movement's history. Atheism. They like to call us the new atheists, but we're anything but new. For those of you who don't know it, who don't remember, actually atheism was here first. Okay? Then somebody said, I don't know. And then somebody said, oh, God did it. And religion was born. As far as we can tell, by the way, the first religion was about 100,000 years ago by the Neanderthals. Apparently, the first god was a bear because the bears died in the winter and went away for the whole winter, and then, tell me if this sounds familiar, were reborn in the spring. And if you put out sacrifices, the food out, the sacrifice for them, they ate the sacrifice and not you. So anything but new. And since we've been around, we can use this. Right? We can use that. 100% correct. In the history of the world, atheism has been proven wrong exactly never. And religion has proven that their gods exist exactly never. Because if that never was anything other than never, well, what are we doing here? If there was any evidence anywhere of anything supernatural, we wouldn't be here. I certainly wouldn't be here. So that doesn't mean it's wrong for us to be a little proud of the fact that we're sticking on the winning side. It may not be the most beautiful side, but it is the winning side. And that's all right. That's all right for us to say, and it's all right for us to be proud of that. The freethinkers and our founding fathers is another place where we can be very, very confident. Anybody out there who thinks that we had a Christian founding nation, or we're a nation founded in Christianity, well, no, we can prove it. Okay, and I'll just divert here for a second. I'm going to be debating Dinesh D'Souza in October. Now that's fun, except the bad news is that means I have to read his book. I have never seen such revisionist history as I've read in this book, but please, folks, if you have any questions, read about the Treaty of Tripoli, read James Madison's direct writings, read Thomas Jefferson's direct writings, and you'll learn that, God isn't in the Constitution quite deliberately. And we're a secular nation for a very darn good reason. For those of you who haven't read Darwin, Ingersoll, and Dawkins, now's a good time. Okay? Don't read Dinesh D'Souza. Read Darwin, Ingersoll, and Dawkins, and if you haven't read them, do it. And then there was a woman named Madalyn Murray O'Hair. Madalyn, 52 years ago, went to court. Went to the Supreme Court and actually took forced Bible readings out of the public schools. Madalyn is the reason, if you went to public school and you didn't pray every day to Jesus, she's the principal reason why. And then she made a little organization called American Atheists. And that is the chair in which I proudly sit today. Now, American Atheists isn't the only organization in this movement. There are many disparate organizations, and I'll talk about that a little more in a bit. But one of the things that has also changed in the movement is that not only are all the organizations growing, but we're actually starting to work together in harmony much more often and much more thoroughly. And that's really exciting to me, because I remember when we all didn't get along so well. And, well, that's history as far as I'm concerned. Now, what are we all... Yeah, believe me, that's great. Now, these organizations all have a common goal, and I'm going to put my words into our common goal, and because the movement is so broad, some people in this movement won't fully agree with the words that I'm about to put down, but that's okay. Oh, first we have to have a face. I'll use that one. What are we fighting for? We're fighting for equality in the hearts and minds of America's citizenry. Now, we already have equal rights in the law, but we all know that we're not getting them. We all know that we're not getting elected. We all know that we're the most derided group in the country. We all know that we're the lowest on the totem pole. And that's what we're trying to fix. That level of equality, getting that last bit of equality where everybody loves everybody, that's a fantasy. That's probably never going to happen in our lifetimes. But getting to the point where atheism is principally irrelevant in your life, where you can be out and nobody cares. That's the objective here. That's the objective. When you can live your life as an outed atheist and nobody cares. That's what we're going for, the principal equality. Freedom of religion is necessary for that to happen. And that, of course, includes freedom from religion. Now, that's what we're looking for here, right? We're not trying to stop anybody from being religious. We're not trying to go into people's houses and take down their crucifixes. We're not trying to do anything to impede anybody else's rights. You can do whatever you want. Don't make us pay for it, right? Don't hurt your kids. And don't force your beliefs on other people. That's it. That's the big deal. That's what we're going for. Now, in order to get true freedom of religion, you must have a true separation of church and state. This is not just a buzzword. This is a meaningful phrase that we must understand is absolutely imperative for freedom of religion. If the state is in with the church, the state's going to push the church on you. If the church is in with the state, the church is going to use the state to push religion on you. Even a little bit takes away your freedom. Every little bit, every little merge hurts every single person. The only people that don't hurt from the merger of separation of church and state is, of course, religions. Religions want the exact opposite of the separation of church and state. I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. The Abrahamic faiths are fundamentally opposite from the Constitution. And this is a problem because so many of our politicians put the Bible above the Constitution. And that means they put their religion above freedom of religion. That's a problem that we all have to fix and we all have to address on a regular basis. I like this guy. Now, American Atheists has our own segment in American Atheism, right? We've always been the guys who say the emperor is naked. He's not only naked, he smells bad, he needs deodorant. This is our market. We're the bulldogs, we're the Marines of free thought. We're the ones who take the cases that nobody wants to take, but that have to be taken. We're the ones who say the things that nobody wants to say, but they have to be said. All theistic religion is a scam. Yes, all of it. It is a scam, and we're allowed to say that. Some people don't agree. They're wrong, but that's okay. And that means all theistic preachers tell lies. Yes, all of them. That doesn't mean they know they're lying, but they're telling lies. Every time a theistic preacher comes up to you and says God exists, it's a lie. And they're given this reverence, right? People believe preachers because for some reason, well, they believe preachers because the preachers say they should be believed. We all know that. So we have to recognize, as far as American Atheists is concerned, religion is a lie, and preachers spread the lies. In fact, they're financially incented to spread the lies. So even if they don't believe the lie, they're financially incented to spread it anyways because that's their job to do it. Religion benefits nobody except the preachers and the politicians in their pockets. We can say that. Now, people say, oh, but religion helped me through the hard times. I need religion for this. My mother needs religion for that. Bull. They need religion, they think they need religion because religion told them they need religion. If you're here and you're secular, that means you don't need religion. There's nothing that says that they don't need religion, except them. They're fooled. They're victims of the scams. They're victims of the lies. And it's all right for us to say that because it's true. My mother goes to a tarot card reader. She doesn't have a lot of money. She goes to a tarot card reader. And when she does, I tell her, you're being scammed. But when they give 10% of their income to a church, we're not supposed to say anything? I don't agree. So we say it loud, and we say it proud, and we say it often, and we say a lot more, so that people will think and people will hear. And sometimes people get pissed off. Sometimes people get angry. That's okay. Sometimes the theists get really mad. I don't care. The theists are not my target audience, and they shouldn't be yours either. The theists are valuable in one sense and only one sense. The closeted atheists. The closeted atheists are in those theistic churches. They're there. When the theists get pissed at me, they go and complain. Who are they complaining? Who are they complaining to? They're complaining to our target audience. They're complaining to closeted theists. They're spreading our message for us. The theist is a marketing tool, and they will be treated as such. So now let's take a brief look back. There you go. I make an ugly woman. I want to just take a few minutes and look back at the other civil rights movements that have gone through this country. The women's suffrage movement, started by Susan B. Anthony and Elizabeth Cady Stanton, two atheists, by the way. That's right. We own that. We own that. The women's suffrage movement started. Women had no power. They had no money. They had no vote. And their principal opposer, religion. God made Adam and woman and Eve to help Adam out. That was the end of that. In fact, even today, Orthodox Abrahamic religions treat women less because it's so hard. It's so drilled in to those books. And guess what happened? With no money and no power, women won. They beat religion utterly. Not bad. Then there was the African American civil rights movement. African Americans started with no power. Tell me if this sounds familiar. No money, no vote, principal opposition, religion. Slavery is all through the Old Testament. And it was used to justify slavery, and we all know that. It was used to justify slavery during slavery. And when they were freed, religion couldn't turn around. Couldn't say, oh, we were just kidding. Couldn't say that. So it stayed. And then, over time, what happened? The African Americans won. Beat them soundly. Utterly. Next, the LGBTs. The LGBTs started completely closeted. And they had a very small percentage of the population. And in that small percentage of the population, there was a broad range of ideas. You could be gay and Republican, or gay and Democrat. They had a terrible reputation. Those of you my age and older will remember clearly when homosexuality equated to pedophilia. Everybody knew that. That's the way it was in the 1970s. Everybody knew that. They beat that reputation. Their principal opposition, Leviticus 20:13. Their principal opposition was religion. And we are going to be here, we are going to watch, we are watching right now as the LGBT movement wins and beats their opposition utterly. Yeah. So now let's compare. Let's compare to those three movements the atheist movement. The atheist movement where it stands today. We're mostly closeted. Yes, we are. We have a bad reputation. Yes, we do. Although it's not quite as bad as the LGBT reputation was, we have a pretty bad reputation. We have a small percentage of the population, bigger than the LGBTs were, And we have a broad range of ideas within that range. You can have atheist Republicans and atheist Democrats. I don't get them, but that's fine. And of course our opposition is religion. Okay, so I want you to see who has already beaten our opponent and how they did it from farther back than we are now. And how they did it with less than what we have now. We have a few advantages, you know. Let's look at some advantages. Yes. The devil is in the details, isn't he? Okay. This is the only chart I'm going to use. Now. And that's not going to work. Okay. Right up there is not a circle. Okay? That's a pie chart. Way up there at 12 o'clock, there's a little tiny slice. You see it? Okay. See it? In this country, there are about 40 to 50 million non-theistic Americans. And 40 to 50,000, 0.1%, involved in the atheist movement. This is our problem, but it's also our opportunity. Look at this. Just think about this for a second. As we grow, we're going to grow immediately. And we're growing immediately right now. Atheism in America is the fastest growing, not only in America, but in each of the 50 states. We're the fastest growing segment. Oh yeah, that's nice. I love that statement. We're in vogue. Did you all know that atheism is in vogue? So, we're also getting international pressure. Atheism is permeating Europe and permeating Canada, and religion is actually going extinct in 9 countries, including Canada. Extinct! As the world continues to shrink and there's a lot of international pressure, that's going to pressure the religious groups in this country. That's going to exert pressure inside America. Religion loves to make itself look bad, and you can help. Between the hypocrisy and the pedophilia, we're just loving it. I mean, I'm just loving it. You can't just open a newspaper these days without finding another religious scandal. They're making themselves look bad, and we can have fun helping to remind everybody how bad they look. Donors and celebrities coming out of the closet. 10 years ago, I think it was, when Ellen DeGeneres came out of the closet on television. It was a big brouhaha. We're way ahead of that. All right? We've got Brad and Angelina. We've got Bill Gates. We've got, unfortunately, Rupert Murdoch. We've got, if you go on Celebrity Atheists, if you go on the internet, you can find hundreds of atheists. Jack Nicholson is an atheist. And don't piss him off. So the donors and the celebrities are coming out because we're in vogue, because there's so much growth, because there's so much potential, because all that gray area there is growth opportunity for this movement. And then there's the internet. Now the internet is the reason, and I want to make sure you all understand this, the internet is the reason that the growth of atheism is not a wave, but a trend. A wave comes down. A trend continues. The internet is the reason that we're a trend and not a wave. When I was young, when I was a kid, I'd have to get on my bicycle and ride 2 miles to the local library to check out the one book on atheism. The one book. And I was the only atheist I knew. That's gone. That's gone. That doesn't exist anymore. Anybody can go online in their living room, in their bedroom, from their laptop, or from their phone, and get more immediately than I got from my library. And you can meet thousands of people. And that strengthens you and that helps you to come out. And believe me, I'm just going to take a wild guess here. When y'all met the first other atheist, you felt a lot better, didn't you? Yeah. I didn't have that experience until I was 13. That just doesn't happen anymore. And then, finally, there's a sleeping giant. 30% under 30. 30 under 30 in this country are non-theistic. 30%. That means that in 20 years, at least 30% under 50 will be non-theistic. Oh, those are good numbers. Those are good numbers. Do you see how much of an important factor the young people are in this? Now, let me ask you a question. When you look at this chart, when you look at the growth, when you look at the pressure, when you look at the support, what part of this says it can't happen? What part of this says it's not happening right now? What part of this says we can't beat our opponent? What part of this says no? I don't think any part of this says no. I think we're going to kick ass. More specifically, I think you're going to kick ass. I like this guy. So, I already talked about the history, and I already talked about our segment. Now, I'm just going to spend a little bit more time talking about how we're going to finish this puppy up and get to our end game. And that's the end game. That's the word I use, end game. And that's what's going to happen. It's been so long. I've been in this movement for 15 years, and I'm a junior. And now, to actually talk about the end game, it's exciting. And I hope you're excited too. Let me tell you a little bit about what American Atheist is doing. There's a lot of us. There's a lot of us. And of course, the first thing that we do, billboards. American Atheist loves billboards. I love billboards. That billboard, I spent $23,000 of American Atheist members' money on that billboard. And I have a little counter that tells me how much press I get at any given day and how much that press is worth. Just to give you an idea, that billboard for which I spent $23,000 got us over $10 million in press. It was, yeah. And that's the first thing that we do at American Atheists is we raise awareness. We raise awareness of our movement's existence so that nobody says, oh, geez, I didn't even know there was a movement. I didn't even know you guys existed. We want that to go away. We still get it too often, but we want it to go away. This movement's breadth is a very important facet of this movement. People think that all atheists are the same. It's totally wrong. And we have to spread that message, that this movement is a broad movement, that American Atheist represents our segment of the movement. But we do, as a movement, have common concerns and common issues, and we have to raise them. And if we have to be the big mouth to raise those concerns, well, that's what we're going to do. We're going to protect our rights via winnable lawsuits. Winnable lawsuits. Lawsuits that we expect to win, lawsuits that we can win. In Utah, they're trying to secularize the cross. They're trying to say that the cross is actually a secular memorial, a secular thing. So what does that mean? That means that if you're a Jew or an atheist or a Muslim, you wouldn't mind having a cross erected for you because it's a secular monument. Why are they trying to do that? Because if they make the cross secular, they can put it up anywhere without worrying about equal access. They don't have to worry about the Constitution anymore. It's not a religious symbol. It's a secular symbol. And we're going to put this in every auditorium and in every public school because it's secular. We're fighting in Kentucky where they're trying to make the #1 responsibility for the Homeland Security Office to promote Christianity. I'm not kidding. That's the #1 responsibility. #2 is protecting Kentuckians from terrorism. #1 is promoting religion. Yes, I'm not kidding. And of course, I don't know if you've been watching the news, but we've started a little trouble down at the World Trade Center. They putting a cross in the memorial. They're not letting anyone else put any religious symbols in the memorial. That ain't happening. That ain't popular either. That ain't popular, but it also isn't happening. If they're going to put a religious symbol in the World Trade Center, they're going to let everybody put a religious symbol in the World Trade Center, or they're taking that cross out. We're going to preserve our heritage because pretty soon it's going to be a history. Pretty soon this is going to be a pretty historic thing. And we have one of the largest free thought libraries in the country at our headquarters in New Jersey behind fireproof walls. We're participating in cross-movement efforts, and we love cross-movement efforts. I love cross-movement efforts. I am a very, very strong supporter of the Secular Coalition for America. And this little rally that we're planning in Washington, D.C., the Reason Rally, something to which I hope you all come, because that's going to be a party. And for those of you who wish to know, by the way, we offer scholarships. Did you all know we offer scholarships? We offer scholarships to activists, not to people who write nice letters, not to people who write good, long essays. We offer scholarships to people who make trouble in their schools, to people who overcome obstacles and help the cause of theism, or atheism, I should say, in their public or private universities or schools. And that's kind of cool. Now, if you can read this, you can't explain that. This man yells a lot. His friends yell a lot. In fact, they yell kind of all the time. And that brings up one of my favorite quotes from Gandhi. First, they ignore you, then they laugh at you, then they yell at you, and then you win. And they're yelling. They're yelling loud, and they're yelling constantly. And they're yelling because they're afraid. But here's the kicker. But here's the kicker. They're not afraid of me. They're not afraid of August. They're not afraid of PZ. They're afraid of you. The sleeping giant. The 30 under 30. The energetic, the strong, the willful, the technologically savvy, they're terrified of you. They don't want you to win at all. You see, we don't need a revolution to satisfy our cause. We don't need a constitutional amendment. We don't need a new law. All we need is a megaphone. And you're the megaphone. You're the impetus. You're the instrument. You are the ones who are going to do this. The 30 under 30. If we get everybody, all the famous people in this movement up on stage, we can't do anything compared to what the young people in this movement can do. And that's why we're depending on you to do this. We have the timing. We have the momentum and we have the support. All we need now is the activity. People ask me, well, Dave, what can I do? The answer is anything. Just do anything. Just do something. If everybody does something, this guy is meat. You're going to eat him alive. He can't beat you. And he knows it. And they know it. And that's why they yell. They yell because they're scared. And they're scared because they're right. Advice from Dave. As we move forward through this, with the beard or without the beard, what do you think? Too bad. As we move forward, I just have a few words of advice for you. Closets kill movements. Okay? If you're in a closet, time to come out. This movement has no time for people who want to sit in the closet and whine. Sit in the closet and watch. We don't have time, and we don't have we can't waste the effort. Please come out of the closet. Your parents will get over it. Your friends will get over it. This is how you do it. This is how you change the country. First, you raise your fist. First, you raise your hand. First, you open your mouth. Closets kill movements. Come out of the closet, shut the door behind you. You won't need it anymore. Capitalize on the breadth of our movement. Now, this is an important point. We're a small movement, but we're very broad, which means we're stretched thin. Does that make sense? We've got Republicans, we've got Democrats, we've got lefts, we've got rights. We've got all kinds in this movement. Everybody in this movement is a friend. Which brings up Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan was president for 8 years. In those 8 years, he said one thing I agree with. Somebody who agrees with you 95% of the time is your friend. And that's what I want you to remember when we go through this. There are lots of people in this movement who agree with 95% of what you think. I don't agree with August on everything, I think. But we don't have to worry about that. We're still on the same side. We're fighting the same battle. So as we move forward and as you move forward into this movement, find the difference between your friends and your good friends. You're going to find a few people that are better friends, a few more organizations that are better friends than the others, and go there. But when you go there, don't waste time or energy trying to change the people inside the movement who are different from you. That's a waste. Stick with your friends and fight our common enemies. Concentrate your energies there, not inside the movement, because that's just a waste. Please. And finally, I mentioned on my Facebook page that I would be making an announcement tonight. So I think I should do that right now. Moving forward, you can do this when you're president. You can just make policies when you're president. That's cool. You could do that. And August, moving forward, every single SSA alumni is going to get a free 1-year membership to American Atheists. Now, we want to be everyone's friend. We're not going to be some best friends to some of you, and that's okay. But to those of you who want to be our best friends, to those of you who want to join us, you can join us for free for the first year, and you'll find out a little bit more about us once you're a member. Come to the Reason Rally. Now, folks, between the 1950s and the 1970s, this country went through a major change. A major change. And you're going to see that kind of change between the 2000s and the 2020s. You're going to see that happen. You're going to be part of it. And in the 1960s, they had Woodstock, and we're going to give you yours. We're going to give you the Reason Rally, the largest atheist event in world history. Next year, March 24th, 2012, in Washington, D.C. Come. There's going to be music. I can't tell you who, but it looks good. There's going to be comedy. There's going to be speakers, including some guy named Dawkins, and some guy named Myers, and some guy named Randy. No. Not for you. And there's going to be fun. This is going to be an enjoyable... Taslima Nasrin, actually, has just joined and Greta Christine is going to be there. And this is going to be fun. This is going to be your epic event. And I hope you all come, and I hope you all enjoy yourselves, and I hope you all have an epic, wonderful time. Stay, if you'd like, for the American Atheist National Convention, which will be in the 2 days following the Reason Rally, right there in Washington, D.C., This year, just like last year, student pricing, $20, includes membership in American Atheists. Guest speakers include Richard Dawkins and Brother Sam Singleton. Now, finally, this is my last word of advice. And this is the last thing I'm going to say. I want you to enjoy this. I want you to enjoy watching the country change. I want you to enjoy making the country change. This is going to be an epic evolution. This is the last phase of the American civil rights evolution. We're it. You're it. And you're going to be a part of it. And you're going to make it happen. And in 20 years, I want you to sit back. And I want you to smile, and I want you to say, yeah, I did that. Yeah, we did that. Because you're going to do that. Thank you.